Hey guys, happy Tuesday. In today's video, I'd like to do a deep dive technical analysis of Bitcoin as well as technical analysis on MicroStrategy MSTR stock. I'll also be covering the latest updates around the Bitcoin markets and share with you my overall price predictions with Bitcoin commodity as well as MSTR in the year 2025. Now, if you're new to this channel, first off, I would really appreciate you hitting a like, turning on the bell notification, and subscribing for more related content. Let's begin, guys. Let's take a look at the technical analysis of Bitcoin. So we're looking at the daily charts of Bitcoin here and today, current price. In fact, we actually got up to about 88,000 today, and current price is hovering, right below that 88,000, $87,806 per price of Bitcoin. Definitely some nice consolidation upside here. One of the key things we're beginning to see is that the relative strength is beginning to show upward movement here, coupled with MACD. In fact, the short-term EMA just crossed the long-term EMA, where we're beginning to see a bullish divergence pattern here with the MACD, and that's coupled with increased volume with the price of Bitcoin. And for those reasons, we're continuing to see consolidation, Bitcoin price continuing to go up here. Hopefully we see Bitcoin break through that $90,000 as we head towards the end of the month. But let's take a look at the weekly here. So key indicator here is that now we see three green candles. Of course, we haven't finished the entire week here, but this is a good signal here, especially with that big, drop off retracement candle, from the all-time high of like 109,000. What we haven't seen is like the recent intra bullish divergence, MACD coming into effect here. But I think on the weekly scale, as we head into April, we're going to see the MACD on the weekly showing a divergence signal as well, coupled with relative strength also increasing. So this is definitely a great reversal here. We're beginning to see the market participants, trying to push the price up for Bitcoin, and we may very well see, just overall Bitcoin price, get back into that $90,000 and, eventually hover back into the $100,000 range. But I definitely do think that we may very well see a breakout here. We've heard from Tom Lee. He's forecasted Bitcoin price can go anywhere from like 200 to $250,000 in the year 2025. What's key is that we saw consolidation for about 4 months, in that 90, 100K. Just recently, we saw that drop off, of like 77,000. But one of the key things to think about is, where we are now with that recent support around the 70, 80,000. That was actually the prior resistance. So we actually flipped the switch in that the prior resistance is now the support, and we're only going to see the next leg up here very soon here. Let's take a look at just the overall technicals of MicroStrategy. So one of the key indicators here is on the daily chart. We're seeing huge bullish divergence pattern here with the MACD increasing here. We have the short-term EMA crossing the 26-day EMA here, along with relative strength beginning to pick up, along with volume increasing. What I have drawn here is, that resistance line around that $350, $340. As soon as we see price action where the market participants take the price up to that prior resistance of 340, 350, as we hover into the month of like April, as soon as we see price, becoming the new support there, that's where we're going to see more bullish activity go on, especially with just the heavy consolidation going on here since that all-time high of 550. As we zoom in here, it's been just hovering in this bullish pennant flag, but key indicator is breaking out of that bullish pennant flag on the near term with the relative strength MACD signs here. And hopefully price action, we can see that be the new support line here, which is what we've seen as a prior resistance. So I'm forecasting as we head into April, we may very well see price action, get into that 350 as a new support, and then we may very well see that gap up into the 450 range. But as soon as Bitcoin price reaches its prior resistance of 110K, we may very well be somewhere around that 400, 450 range. But as it gaps up to 130, 150, 180, 200, we may be off to the races. Keep in mind that whenever Bitcoin runs, MicroStrategy runs much faster, along with the higher risk plays such as MSTU, MSTX. Those stocks, ETFs are going to have big time run ups in addition to MicroStrategy here. So we may very well see some very bullish activities just based on the technicals here. But let's look at some updates on what we're hearing around the Bitcoin market. So here I want to just share a visual here. Back in 2020, we saw that significant gap up, and then we saw that retracement. Are we seeing a similar pattern here in this Bitcoin bull cycle here? So obviously we see the same performance here, but are we at that point where, Josh Mandel, the prophet who got everything right with that laser sharp focus, are we beginning to see that potential run up to like 444,000 or even 200,000 price action? We may very well see that same history repeat itself here just based on the prior performance in the last bull run. It's looking very similar here. Hopefully, we see that upward trajectory. If it can pass 200,000, great. If it can go beyond that, even better with Bitcoin. So, just some context here on what could possibly happen. Just taking a look at this, here in that GameStop announces updates to its investment policy. What they're doing is they're going to be adding Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. So this all got announced today, March 25th, in that the board has unanimously approved an update to its investment policy to add Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. So there's going to be a lot of investors, traders who are looking at GameStop now. So global game theory has really kicked in. And why? This is all because of MicroStrategy's fault. It comes down to Michael Saylor, the ability to tell that story as an audacious leader who just continues to tell that Satoshi story and getting every country, every company in North America ramping up with the Bitcoin hodl, including, Rumble, as well as other companies all around the globe now as well. We also hear Japan getting involved, Metaplanet, buying up Bitcoin as well, up to about 3,000 Bitcoins currently. But now with GameStop, they have about more than 4.6 billion dollars on their balance sheet where they can use that money to buy up Bitcoin. Here's a lovely photo of Ryan Cohen and Michael Saylor taking a picture together here. So very nice outfit between the two here, just showing that young throwback picture. But here, Michael Saylor, welcome to Team Bitcoin GameStop. So truly, there's just going to be more and more companies that are just going to start feeling that FOMO effect. And I think companies that adapt early will win. And, time is, the limiting factor here because the scarcity of Bitcoin is only going to be more and more significant over time. Let's take a look at, strategies update here. So we continue to see orange dots here. I mean, when you look at it from the span of 2020 all the way up through January 2025, since the COVID time, doesn't matter if, Bitcoin price is like less than $10,000, $30,000, over $100,000, or even at $80,000. It doesn't matter on a bear case, bears are saying, oh, strategy is buying at like super high prices. But when you think about it, this is where a lot of the money inflows come into play here, especially with herd FOMO. I think a lot of the money inflows come in when the price of Bitcoin goes up, and that allows for strategy to buy big amounts of Bitcoin purchases. But it really doesn't matter what price Bitcoin is at. Strategy will use whatever fiat they could suck up like a black hole and just buy up Bitcoin to bring up that MNAV. So that's one of the key takeaways here, from a bear case saying that strategy is buying at like 100,000. But if you look at it on a global scale, it doesn't matter. Saylor will buy at any price. It doesn't matter if it's at a low price or a high price. They'll just continue to buy and acquire Bitcoin to be the number one company with the most amount of Bitcoins on their treasury. With that, I want to play a quick video clip of Michael Saylor.
Charity, which is you'll just leave your money to the human race, and everybody that believes what I believe, right? I believe in Satoshi and his vision, sovereignty, property rights, freedom, economic empowerment, economic immortality. I believe nobody should be able to steal your money. I believe you should get to keep it. And so if I believe that and I burn those keys, then I have made everybody in the network that much richer and more powerful forever. And they have the option to do the same, or maybe they'll use that power for good in a way that they deem to be appropriate. And you're like, well, who'd you give the most power to? I gave the most power to the person that believed the most what I believe, right? I mean, everybody has the choice to join the network with $1, $100, $1,000,000, $1 billion, or $1 trillion, right? So everybody gets to join, and we're all in it together from now to eternity. So yeah, that's my legacy.
I guess that begs the question: would you ever burn all your Bitcoin?
I think that I've just answered the question in the most responsible way that anybody would ever answer the question.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know where you're watching from, what your predictions are. Let me know how I can improve. I love to hear your comments and feedback. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.